Good evening, laddies, lasses, and lassos. Welcome to The Click. I hope you're having an amazing day, because you do deserve it and you do smell amazing. Today, we're gonna look at r/ChaoticGood, which is basically the embodiment of anti-heroism in memes. Enjoy. Mwah. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. I haven't done this in a while. Oh! My life consists of memes and nothing else. Speaking of things I will not regret when I grow old. Since we're all talking about leaving Twitter again, can I bring back the idea of migrating to LinkedIn en masse and just totally destroying the professional vibe over there? Honestly, I'll be down to do this even if Twitter doesn't go. Like, that would be amazing. LinkedIn is one of the weirdest vibes ever. I used to be on LinkedIn back when I was a regular professional office person, and after that all went to crap. I didn't even go that much anymore. But it's like an Instagram vibe, but everyone tries to be overly professional. I can't tell you the amount of times that like fake picture about the wolf pack and leadership and stuff has been reposted with some garbage regurgitated inspirational story. Leadership is so important, blah 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 blah, eat flesh. It's like, this isn't even correct. God damn it. 40,000 likes. Great.
That is the best.
Speed camera ahead. Okay. So they're like warning people so they don't get ticketed. Alright. Sounds fair.
Oh, hang on, that's some other.
Okay, wait, that's another sign. Kidding? Made you slow down?
Kidding, made you slow down.
No, wait. No. They're gonna speed up and there is a speed camera now afterwards. No. Is that gonna be what it is?
Oh, wait, hang on. Oh my.
I called it! I freaking called it!
Oh my.
Sorry! Oh my god! That is so evil! Holy crap! But it's still kind of good. Like, you're baiting people like, okay, are you only gonna follow the rules when there is an implication of it? Or are you gonna break the rules as soon as you can, you know? And then you get punished for it because you think you'll get away with it. But you actually won't. Man, this tickles something inside of me and I'm not entirely sure what that is. Mind out of the gutter, please. God, chat, please. Or comments, please. I was on Tumblr when Yahoo bought it. We made them lose $1 billion. We can make Elon lose even more. I will drop Twitter in a heartbeat when MAGA starts coming back. I don't mind getting all this time back to do work. That is, yeah, my god, this is actually true. If you are skeptical about being on Twitter, which you should be, I'm skeptical every single day I'm on Twitter. I'm only there because I'm a creator. If it wasn't for like YouTube support being less than helpful on site, and it helps more to make noise on Twitter, I probably wouldn't have a Twitter account because I don't like it. But this is a good reason to stay. I'm gonna make it worse.
I suppose if people thought about real issues and needs instead of manufactured desires, the economy would collapse and we'd have total anarchy.
Okay. That's actually kind of true. We can see this in both like a wholesome way and like a weird materialistic way. Like most of the stuff we're hyped up that we really need is like, okay, do you really need this, or is it more like a social pressure and just marketing? And most of the time it's social pressure marketing. Not this though. Totally. So anyway. And there can also be a wholesome way. One thing I was actually taught at a relatively young age when I was a student, and I felt that things in life were a bit hard. I was going through like a breakup or something. I had like some issues with some friendship or something like that. I had failed a couple of tests in school. It was like one of those few months where everything just kind of feels rotten. And I remember the thing I was told was to write a list. I put one column with all the good things in life, like I have a roof over my head, I have nice friends around me, I have family members that I really appreciate, I have this and that and blah blah blah. And then on the negative side, it was like, oh, going through breakup, fail this math test. And I realized that most of my issues were condensed into like 2 or 3 bullet points, and the good things in life were quite many. And the human brain kind of works in that way, because of course evolutionary wouldn't survive if we just like, oh, it's only 2 bad things, no need to worry, and then you freaking die. But in modern society, most issues aren't necessarily life or death to the extent it was when we were cavemen. There can still be very big issues in your life, obviously, but oftentimes I have found that we overhype things for ourselves. One really good self-help advice I got at some point as well is if you feel overwhelmed, not to the point where you're burnt out, then you've gone past the point and probably need proper time off and need to rethink some things, but if you feel stressed, how many things can you drop without real serious consequences happening? And the answer is a lot of things in your life you can drop without having super serious consequences in the now. And having that feeling of freedom can help with a lot of pressure and anxiety. A little bit of wholesome side rants and also anarchy.
Adult film star Brandon Cummings from the famous Let's Go Brandon series of male-on-male adult films have been arrested after beating up 35 neo-Nazis. Naughty star Brandon Cummings from the famous Let's Go Brandon. I mean, this is so just... It's not real. I don't think this is real, okay? This is such a meme bait, but... It just reads gloriously. This needs to be a movie, man. Oh my god. Run! My first thought was that it would be funny to stand out there and cheer them on as Michael Myers, since the marathon was the weekend before Halloween. Also, just encouraging them to run. Honestly, I think they would run even faster if you were also chasing them. I mean, that would also imply that you need to get in shape before that, which can be a freaking struggle. But damn, imagine, that's an amazing motivator. Oh my god, getting tired before the finish line. Go, I believe in you.
Oh, there is more to it. The marathon goes right past our house and we were out on the front porch having coffee, watching the runners go by when the idea just struck me, out of nowhere. My first thought was that it would be funny to stand out there and cheer them on as Michael Myers, since the marathon was the weekend before Halloween. Then I had the idea to hold up a sign that just said run. I told my fiancée Lisa and she said, "Oh, that would be hilarious! You have to do it!" The response was fantastic. People running a marathon will just take about any kind of encouragement they can get, especially later in the run. We got lots of laughs, plenty of thumbs up, and a good number of people took photos of me as they ran by. But several people wanted to take selfies with me lurking over them, and that was definitely my favorite. I mean, if Michael can't motivate you to run, what can? Lol. This is... What's it called? The parody advertisement that was running a few years ago? Scared Shitless Fitness? Where it's just like a clown with a knife breaking into your bedroom in the middle of the night, like, ah! And chase you over the street and just be like, oh, you burned 200 calories. Great job, Kathleen. This is kind of like that. I love this. This is so sweet. I think turning horror into like a wholesome motivator is definitely chaotic good. It's just beautiful.
How to make $70,000 to $1,800 a year snitching on bike lanes.
All right.
New York City bill puts a bounty on bike lane violations. First, you have to find a vehicle blocking the bike lane.
Okay,
and you take
easy
a picture
enough.
of the vehicle, submit that photo to the Department of Transportation, and then you're entitled to 25% of the value of that ticket, which is expected to be $175. In the 3 hours that we were out, we found 8 cars parked in bike lanes. 8 violations times
Is he drawing on a police car?
$1,400 to the city. 25% is the bounty, which equals $350 for 3 hours worth of work. Now,
That's-
say you were able to do that 4 days a week. 4 days a week, you reported 8 cars.
That is
in the
amazing
bike
hourly
lane.
pay.
That would mean you're getting $1,400 a week in bounties, or $72,800 a year.
That's more than I made as an engineer with a master's degree. Holy shit. For biking around taking photos? Hell yeah. There is a term in Swedish called självutnämnd polis, and it's like self-proclaimed cop. It's usually used to refer to like annoying people and Karens who think they own the world, and it's like,
Oh my god, technically our kids can't play here because...
stuff like that. That's a self-proclaimed cop in Swedish. But this is like a self-proclaimed cop, but like good? Like pro-bike stuff, getting some extra cash on the side? Hell yeah. Bees unleashed an attack on deputies during eviction enforcement, Hampton Country Sheriff says. ABAC. All bees attack cops. Is this real? Holy crap. Man, bees are really the beast. Like in best, but that do be awesome. Oh my god, yes. Did you know that bee in Swedish is bi? Or bee? I am so entertaining. Oh my god. r/frick cars. That's a subreddit? Alright. I practice hostile pedestrianism. Activism. Driver speeds up and try to beat me through the crosswalk. I start running, so they either have to stop or run me over. Driver edging into the crosswalk at a stoplight. I make direct eye contact and shout at them as I give them the thumbs up. I am aware that this will probably result in me getting shot or run over, but I don't care. I want bad drivers to be uncomfortable in their interactions with me and think about it for the rest of the day. I want bad drivers to tell their friends about some crazy guy who yelled at them in the middle of an intersection. I want bad drivers to be fearful of me, so they look for pedestrians while they drive. Really, I want to make driving less comfortable for those who have grown lazy. Honestly, it's a very noble cause. It's very self-sacrificing in a way, but it's a very beautiful cause. Because I think laziness in traffic is probably what causes a lot of accidents. Like usually when someone does something weird and everyone else pays attention, you can usually avoid it relatively well. But it's like when both people forget to pay attention at the same time, that's when it goes kasmack. So doing this can probably save lives. Even if it's very self-sacrificing in the process. Owl at the library. May this be the year in which you stop writing for fame or money and start writing for revenge. That is beautiful. That's a good motivator. It's like instead of trying to just make up a story, you just write that revenge fanfic about that stupid ex you had back in high school. Oh, Courtney, you bitch! Absolutely gorgeous. I think it's a great motivator. Go for it, Owl. Naked woman chases Jehovah's Witness off her porch and down the street yelling, "Succumb to my devil vajuje magic!" That is glorious. I love this. How to stop like knock-to-knock dory stuff. This is amazing. Luckily, we don't have a lot of that stuff in Sweden, but I imagine it's roughly the same annoyance level as like phone callers and scammers and that kind of stuff. They're just coming, annoying you at always the wrong hours and just refusing to hang up or leave. At least they run for this kind of stuff. I mean, especially if they're a bit prude as well. This is like traumatizing, but in a good way. There are Nazis on campus right now, and a student brought out like a 1997 boombox and started blasting "Taking the Hobbits to Isengard" every time they try to say something. "Those who do not share our genes to Hobbits, the Hobbits, the Hobbits, the Hobbits, the Master Race to Isengard, then I believe the Hobbits, to Isengard." Chaotic good. In Jewish tradition, one of our holidays is called Purim. It celebrates the defeat of an anti-Semitic political advisor to a king who liked to prowl the streets ranting his hatred. Part of the story of Purim involves the people being ranted at inventing a special kind of noisemaker to drown him out. Basically what I'm saying is this student is following a grand tradition, whether they realize it or not. They should be proud. Not only is Purim about drowning out fascists, it's about doing so in the most absurd and embarrassing ways possible. Fascism thrives on an aura of invincibility. And it's hard to hold on to that when people keep making farting sounds every time you open your mouth. So really, weaponized memes are perfectly in keeping with the Purim spirit. Slams fist on table. Now this is the kind of religious/cultural tradition I can get behind. That is gorgeous. I kind of want to see that video with the Hobbits to Isengard. That sounds absolutely amazing. And like the building frustration, and they keep trying, and they're so desperate because, you know, everyone has rallied and are out for the day, but it's just completely memed on. I love that. The power of memes. Okay, so we gotta do climbing. Oh! They're turning off like neon signs and stuff. They're just turned on in the middle of the night for no reason. You see, this is the kind of environmental activism that is like good, saves energy, it's a bit of like a quirky stunt, and it also saves energy, and there are like no victims. Like, you know, the store isn't even open. It's fine. It probably even saves the store a power bill, you know? Especially this time you're in Sweden, they'd probably be grateful. You're saving them like thousands of dollars. Yeah, I would much prefer people do this instead of that freaking stunt where they started smashing milk and stuff in the superstores. That was the most stupid thing I've ever seen. Yikes. Here's the description. As an energy crisis looms, young activists in Paris are using superhero-like parkour moves to switch off wasteful lights that stores leave on all night. That is beautiful. I kind of like this, and it's a good excuse to like show off parkour skills and make it likable. That's amazing. Oh my, that is so many stickers. Abort Greg Abbott. Don't mess with trans kids. Make America grateful again. No hate, love all. This little rainbow, you are loved. This is kind of beautiful. Like usually bumper stickers are something that gives me like a negative reaction, but this looks pretty colorful and cute. r/Ukraine. Ukrainian teen used dating site to trick Russian soldiers into revealing info used to target them. Oh my. I must say, I don't think I've ever heard of a wartime catfish before. That is astounding. There are so many things that are gonna go to history after all of this that is just completely mind-boggling, because most of the historical things regarding, you know, warfare and conflict is from quite a long time ago, before the internet was a thing or any stuff like that. So nowadays, like all the tricks and hacks and silly things that happen, my god, the historians are gonna have a field day. I made my classmate elect somebody that wasn't even a candidate as our class representative. So basically, we were electing our class representatives. I'm in 11th grade, and we only have one candidate. However, it was the class clown, and only a few of us actually wanted him to be elected. So we decided to choose another classmate who wanted to be representative but was too shy to be a candidate, and we told our friends to vote for him. We thought he would get about 25% of the votes, but he got more than 80%! Apparently, almost everyone in the class except him knew about what we were trying to do. The look on the class clown's face when he realized that he was going to lose the election was priceless. Sorry if my English is bad, by the way. That poor other guy was the only candidate that still lost the election. I mean, it's a very silly school election, but it's kind of beautiful to see someone like be actually elected and gain the seat of power, so to say, that you feel kind of probably deserves it, genuinely wants it, but doesn't have that killer instinct, yabba da boom bing, to actually stand up there and, you know, debate all this stuff, and because that can be pretty stressful, especially if you don't have the temperament for it. So this is pretty beautiful to see. Gives me hope about humanity, man. When I was in 4th grade, I was in the gifted program, and they let us go to the library more often, which meant we had more chances to take the accelerated reader tests and get points, and whoever reached a certain threshold got to go to Chuck E. Cheese. So I would go around asking people I knew had a hard time reading what their logins were and sneaking to take tests for them so they could go to Chuck E. Cheese too. I got caught, and they didn't let me go to Chuck E. Cheese, but it was worth it, frick you. That's kind of beautiful. That's nice. That's why we all need to lie and cheat! We love your heroics. We're gonna deal with whoever caught you. Chuck E. Cheese official? Oh, the Chuck E. Cheese account reply. That is very astounding. My God. You know, depending on the context, cheating can be very bad in life, you know. No. But in this context, when it's like a test that's for practice and they have on purpose set it up so like some of the kids struggling will never get the prize, I think it's kind of a wholesome way to cheat the system. This is quite nice. Haryana's Gurugram residents hold the authorities at gunpoint and made them construct a road overnight. 30 arrested. Accidents were allegedly witnessed on that patch of broken road. That's pretty hardcore. You hold your like corrupt government who doesn't want to fix the public roads hostage until they do it. Oh my God.
Update. Republicans started recruiting plaintiffs for a lawsuit to stop student debt relief. Our response? 130,000 false applications were sent in less than a day. Good job, everyone.
I can't believe people still do this. I mean, they set up these online applications. Wasn't it the same thing when some company was like, oh yeah, now you can send in your complaints or like your... Oh, no. I remember what it was. I think it was during a strike and they were trying to replace the strikers and opened up like online applications so they could like not agree to union stuff or something like that. And it was online. So the entire younger generation just completely spammed the system so it broke down. It's like, fam, you made it easier to spam apply and you expect people to do it less? Like... You're setting yourself up for trolling. I'm not telling you to stop, but like, it's pretty funny. My neighbors are too low income to afford a Wi-Fi connection and too proud to use mine. So I renamed mine Free Council Wi-Fi and told them I had read about it and what the password was. My neighbor is now halfway through an online college qualification and I am so proud of her. That is so freaking sweet. And to be honest, nowadays with the speed that Wi-Fi's have, like fiber and broadband and stuff, it's not like you use the whole bandwidth yourself anyway. Like what? I think I have 1 gigabit of Wi-Fi and playing a video game uses like, what, 5M or something like that? It's like, it's not much. Great for transferring YouTube files, but it's not like you use the whole thing all the time. So doing this for a neighbor in need is so freaking sweet. That is amazing. And sometimes it's the little things that people need to like really get them away from square zero. It is, it's beautiful. Getting hammered. My GF had a birthday party a while back. We went to a karaoke bar and then a few bars downtown. Because, of course they do, everyone buys this woman drinks right off the bat. She is 4'11" and maybe 100 pounds. After a few shots in quick succession, I was worried about her. When she started to get to the point where I knew she'd had almost too much, I started to drink some of her drinks when she would look away. When we left for a bar downtown, the booze hit me pretty hard and I knew we were gonna be miserable the next day if people kept buying drinks. She was drunk enough that she was doing the thing where she runs places with all the composure of an excited toddler. Oh yeah, I know that one. Oh yeah, look at that light. And then they're off. I know at this point she could probably drink a shot of tequila and it would taste like water. She is T-1 drink from vomit and I am not very far behind. Anywho, she toddled ahead of us maybe 30 feet towards the bar, and I quickly got some of her friends to agree to a prank. We asked them to get the others in on it too. We would simultaneously feed her drinks at an alarming rate and tell her that the bartender says he's only going to serve you if you drink a glass of water between drinks. I got 2 bartenders in on it, when we collectively bought her another 4 rounds of mocktails. She is raving about how good the drinks are, and at one point even says, "This is dangerous, I can't even taste the alcohol in it." We are really struggling to suppress our laughter. Someone tries one of her drinks and makes a face and says, "Good God, that's a strong pour." Our sides hurt from laughing. 4 mocktails, 3 glasses of water, and 2 hours later, she started to look less drunk and still having a great time. It's getting late and we go grab some fries and a final round. She has a real one this time. We go home, she passes out and wakes up feeling good the next day. We laugh our asses off telling her about it. Ladies and gents, you too can form a mocktail cabal to save your friends and loved ones from a brutal hangover. That is so sweet. And at that point of the evening, when you've already had a pretty decent amount to drink, if you just have some mocktails and water, have some sugar in your system to keep you going and energized, you're gonna have fun anyway. You don't need to constantly refill with alcohol. You just need energy and something to keep you going, right? So this is beautiful, and also no hangover. This is such a wholesome way because, I mean, the alternative is that you just, literally carry your friend home as they're vomiting and hungover for 3 days. So I wish friend groups in general would do this, that this was the norm, because it's absolutely beautiful. I love this. Raw video. Today, armed activists with the group Don't Comply held their annual Feed the Need event where they gave homeless people food, winter clothes, and blankets. A crime in Dallas. The group was armed to deter cops, with one young participant even open carrying swords. Really? If you just buy something at McDonald's, you could give that to your friend, but not some guy sitting on the street? What kind of law? That's bullshit. This is an amazing way to just stick it to that freaking law though. God freaking darn it. 15 years ago, 5 friends and I drunkenly painted a crosswalk on a dangerous street in our college town. Shockingly, people actually used it, and the city installed a legitimate crosswalk there soon after. Now it's in national publication. The case for guerrilla crosswalks! That's actually amazing. As long as you don't get caught, because I'm assuming you can be charged for vandalism or something like that, I'm supposed, because you're technically painting and graffitiing on public property. But if you can get away with it, and people actually use it and assume it's real, maybe that's the way to do it. If you get the whole of society just agree to this one thing, quietly you'll start doing it, they don't really have any choice but to actually make it a thing. I like this. This is beautiful. What anti-hero stuff, man. What was your frick it done helping others moment? One day, I found a puppy, dirty, hungry, and just scared and lost. I gave him a good meal and some love and went to drop him off at the address on his collar. The dude thanked me, then proceeded to beat the crap out of the dog, telling me to mind my own business when I tried to get him to stop, carried him by his collar to a 5 feet short chain to a muddy patch with a crappy broken 3-wall dog house, where I'm guessing the dog spent 100% of its time. I called the cops, but they did nothing. The dog technically had shelter, which qualifies because 3 walls and a roof, even if it was filled with holes, and gets 20 degrees at night here. P.S. I stole the dog 3 weeks later. Hey, stealing is wrong! Nah, just kidding. Good dog napper. That is, yeah, stealing generally, but there are exceptions. There are exceptions, and this is definitely one of them. They obviously didn't care for the dog anyway. They're probably not even gonna notice it's gone. Because they obviously didn't notice the first time it ran away, So maybe the first time it was even a neighbor who just, let it loose anyway, so... Good on you. Positive memes. When contestants do cry out of frustration or disappointment, generally Mel and Sue stand near them and use unairable language so the embarrassing footage is tainted and won't make it into the final edit. Using unwholesome language to keep your show wholesome. As well as swearing, they also use brand names. Oh, because you can't do that because of copyright issues. So it's frickin' Coca-Cola. Goddamn, we can't use this emotional scene now. Duh. This must be the definition of chaotic good, honestly. That is so sweet. I love that because it's not even the whole hassle of going to the editors and the producers and be like, hey, can we cut this out because this poor contestant? Because they'll probably not agree to it and you're gonna have a huge hissy fit and stuff about it. And this just is the nail in the coffin. The nail in the coffin. You don't have to do anything else. It's smack! Unusable. Yeah, quiet quitting is great and all, but have you tried chaotic working? I remember back in my grocery store cashier days, I did so much crazy shite. When WIC, Women, Infants and Children Voucher Program to help low-income mothers/families with children, people were in my line. I would pretty much know who they were. Before the cards, they had to tell us up front they were WIC and show us their vouchers for what they were allowed to get. It was awful sometimes, 2 gallons of milk, $4 worth of vegetables, etc. They would always have items hanging back, waiting to see what the total was and if they would have to take it off the belt. I began to place the fruits and vegetables a certain way on the register scale, so like half a pound of grapes rated as 0.28 pounds or something, then act all shocked when I said they still had X amount of pounds left. What? They got all their fruit and vegetables. I think it started to kinda catch on to the women, because I would have the same moms in my line month after month, and after they switched to the cards, they worked like food stamp cards, I'd still do the same thing. They were able to get more produce for the max amount Indiana gave them. Anyways, be chaotic, it's more fun that way. I think that's pretty beautiful, because even in this industry there's like so much waste, so nobody is gonna lose from this anyway. You know, Jesus, 0.2 pounds of vegetables, come on now. I know there are some programs like that. I had a couple of friends when I was studying who saved a lot of money by, I don't remember if they got it for free or they bought it out super cheap, like leftover stock and damaged goods or, you know, misformed candies and that kind of stuff from grocery chains. Not sure what those kind of programs look like internationally, but I do know it was a thing in certain places in Sweden, at least like 10 years ago when my friends told me this. Pretty smart concept. I wish that was more widely spread because, my god, there is so much waste in modern society and it could really go to something useful. Because honestly, it's like the same product. It just doesn't look good on the shelf, so they throw it away instead of doing something good with it, which is a shame. Anyone else hate cops? I live in a relatively safe country and most of them don't have to do poo, so I go out of my way to mess with them. Get in my car in the middle of the night looking like a pick related. Make sure to not blink for a few minutes so my eyes are watery and red. Play loud, obnoxious rap music in the car. When they pull me over, I make sure to rip a nice steaming fart so when they bend over my car window, they get hit in the face with my butt juice. Act sleepy and lethargic when they ask me stuff. They test me for alcohol and drugs and basically raid my car every time. Always clean. Waste an hour asking me if I have anything and get pissed off at me after that they let me go. Repeat at least once a week or a freaking menace. I'm pretty sure the entire police department knows me by now, because they stopped pulling me over. Next week I'm going to another town to troll some more lazy cops. I have a story similar to this. It's not so much like a finger against the man or anything like that. It's more just funny student pranks. But back in the day, you used to have these student pranks in Sweden for like the newcomers to universities and stuff. Over time, they got more tame because obviously people get in trouble and that kind of stuff. So this is from a few decades ago. But one of these pranks was that in a city in Sweden, students would go around with a park bench. And they had actually bought this park bench, but of course, any police officer that saw them assumed that, oh my god, these rowdy teenagers, they have stolen a park bench. So they stopped them, but they showed the receipt and everything. So like, oh no, Mr. Officer, here everything is in order. So after a while, after these kids have been stopped like 10 times, they called out on the police radio and said, if you see some stupid students going around with a park bench, they have actually bought it, they're just pranking, don't bother stopping them, don't waste time. And when the students realized they were no longer getting stopped for carrying on this park bench, they just started swapping it out. So they dumped this park bench in the center of a park, went picked up the new one, weren't stopped, dumped that one in the same place, and overnight they had like accumulated this massive pile of just park benches. Incredibly silly, but a very funny anecdote. A video is going viral on the internet of a thief being interrogated at a police station in ChaoticGood. I have no clue how to pronounce that. In this hilarious clip, the thief confessed that he stole Rs 10,000, and when Derg superintendent of police Dr. This asked him what he did with the money, he claimed that he spent all the money feeding strays and cattle. The thief also shared that he had distributed blankets among the poor. This is like a Robin Hood. It's a Robin Hood for kittens. This is amazing. Home of a 75-year-old man who's a serial cheater while his wife is away for medical reasons. A cheater lives here, pathological liar. Oh damn, some neighborhood spice to liven up the neighborhood barbecues. Oh heck yes.
For you to
pray to end abortion.
Adopt. I thought this is like the best place.
Giving adoption papers to people blocking Planned Parenthood.
For you to adopt. I
Lamb
feel
of
like you
God,
don't want to adopt.
you who take
All right?
away the sin of the
Getting
world.
this weird feeling.
That is,
How about an application to adopt?
that's kind of a
Am I
smart
going to
gotcha.
walk through an application to adopt?
Leave you alone? Come on now. Come on, that's pretty hypocritical, isn't it?
Oh my God, I'm so rude. It's so rude of me. About 300,000 kids in foster care system.
I kind of like this. Like, usually these kind of public, you know, interviews / like getting up in the face of people, I kind of find it cringe. But this is probably the exception, especially when people get so harassy about these topics. It's like, oh, leave us alone. Like, but what about you though? Come on! This is nice. This is funny. Always carry zip ties so you can frick with people at park like a-holes. Look at that, yay! You got a free shopping cart. Good luck getting into your car, you po. You parked over 2 spots. Man, you're not bad at parking. You didn't even try. Bank robbery suspect threw stolen money and wished everyone a Merry Christmas, witness said. Wait, like in the bank as well? So he just grabbed the money and just like, whee! That's pretty cute. This is like Santa who's like gone off the rails a little bit. We are hearing that this individual was late for her own Back the Blue rally due to being detained by police. She was showing people the book Gender Queer and saying it was adult child materials. So someone reported her for the possession of adult child materials. And then they're standing there awkwardly looking through it and be like, no, this is... She's claiming it is, right? That's kind of also like a fine gotcha moment. It's like, well, if you're claiming that's what it is, like, why would you hold on to it, man? Like, Jesus. I was sick of seeing so many people swimming in the river at Yellowstone with clear no swimming signs, so I shouted from the bridge that they were flesh-eating bacteria in the water and everyone ran out. Don't let the world fool you. Consistent kindness is the most quietly powerful thing. If you ever want to engage in villainy and undermine the social order, be especially kind to the people society has rejected. Care about the ones the world would convince you don't deserve your kindness. I genuinely mean this when I say to you, the ultimate act of rebellion is insisting on compassion and grace in a compassionless world. Disruptive compassion. Reblogging because I have a lot of feelings about this and because I believe very strongly in the most punk rock and badass thing you can do is live your life with aggressive empathy and kindness. Aggressive empathy. I like that. That's a pretty cool concept. Attention subordinates, effective immediately. Conversing about wages both on duty and off duty is strictly forbidden. This is considered proprietary information and such protected legally. If you overheard speaking or listening to a conversation with wages are discussed, you will receive disciplinary action and including termination. As a reminder, Kentucky is an at-will state, meaning your employment can be terminated for any reason without legal precaution, blah, 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 or no reason. Ask jur. Yo, Jerbear! Seeing as your manager in the great Illustrator's World of Planet Fitness gym franchise, it may behoove you to become familiar with the laws pertaining it. Sprinkle legal S and word salad across an 8.5x11 paper you printed as not a legal doc make. Since research ain't your forte, I've included a link to the pertinent document to the left, right, top, and bottom of this paper. Kind of hard to miss. Needless to say, you can't legally tell us not to discuss wages in the good old US of A. We'll continue to do so. Furthermore, for the sake of making this a little more streamlined, shall we? Here's everyone's wages, and everyone is also, that was not on it initially, have also written it down. The rest of your subordinates could not be reached, but they're welcome to post their wages above. When an employer tries to be nasty and it backfires in the most violent way possible. Isn't that just glorious? Mildly interesting. The way my girlfriend cut around the pepperoni. That is weird, but kind of nice. It's very equally distributed. This gives him mathematical questions like, do you cut the pizza evenly? Or do you cut it evenly around the pepperonis? What's the best way of distributing it? Ooh, I can make a case about this. Metro woman breaks into Oklahoma City dog pound to get her dog before it's euthanized. Of course! Who wouldn't do? That's so stupid. We're gonna take your pet and then it's just gonna die. Why? That's so dumb. 500 live crickets are only $45. Use this information as you see fit. Ooh! I can become like God. Here's a bunch of little freaking graffiti and stuff, and vandalism is a crime. Isn't that just kind of a little bit of vandalism? This is kind of a little bit ironic, isn't it? Guy goes to Mexico to do unalivey stuff. Spends week doing coke and doing hookers instead. Decides to keep living. $2,000 spent on trip to Mexico, a cab ride, a seedy hotel room, excessive amounts of the adult substances, and adult people. Orgies legitimately saved a man's life. Maybe just jump-started like the positive receptors in your brain. That is... that's kind of a fascinating story. Well, laddies, lasses, and lazos, I do hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and you learned some beautiful ways of being chaotic good in this weird, wild world. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in the very near future. Take care. Mwah.